Before 11 a.m., you have a choice. The world hasn't completely woken up yet. The noise is still low. Distractions are fewer. And in that quiet window, you hold something powerful, the ability to decide how your day will go, and more importantly, who you're becoming. Before 11 a.m., you must win the morning, because if you win the morning, you win the day. Not by scrolling, not by snoozing, but by showing up, by moving your body, feeding your mind, and setting your intention like a laser. Success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently, and that consistency begins in the morning. Before 11 a.m., you must do the hard thing, the thing you've been avoiding, the thing that scares you, the workout, the writing, the phone call, the prayer, the silence, the planning, the focus, the thing that moves your future forward. Before 11 a.m., you must remind yourself you are not here to survive, you are here to rise. This isn't just about productivity, this is about dominion over your time, your mind, and your destiny. You have to train yourself to stop reacting and start commanding. Because by 11 a.m., the world will come rushing in emails, opinions, tasks, interruptions. If you haven't grounded yourself before then, you'll spend the rest of the day chasing. The battle for your future is not fought in one grand moment. It's won in the little battles you face every single morning. That first hour when the sun rises isn't just the beginning of another day, it's your personal battleground. The moment you wake up, the clock starts ticking on your decision. Will you own this day, or will the day own you? When you win the morning, you set the tone for everything that follows. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how one rushed, distracted, unproductive morning can derail an entire day? One missed alarm turns into a missed workout. A missed workout turns into missed focus. Missed focus leads to poor decisions. And before you know it, you're looking at a day that just happened to you, not for you, but it doesn't have to be that way. Winning the morning isn't about perfection. It's not about checking off a to-do list or performing some Instagram-worthy ritual. It's about waking up with intention. It's about telling the world, I'm here and I'm ready. When your feet hit the ground, something inside you has to rise, your mindset, your clarity, your determination. It starts with simple decisions. Don't hit snooze. Don't reach for your phone. Don't scroll aimlessly through other people's lives while yours waits quietly in the background. Instead, stand up. Breathe. Move. Say thank you for the breath in your lungs and the opportunity to try again. Remind yourself, not everyone gets another sunrise. But you did. There's something sacred about the early hours. The stillness, the silence, the sense of newness. It's a clean slate. No matter what happened yesterday, this morning is a chance to rewrite the story. That's powerful. That's not just time on a clock. That's life waiting to be shaped by your hands. When you win the morning, you put yourself in control. You decide how you feel, how you think, what you focus on. You train your brain to respond instead of react. You set your emotional thermostat before the outside world tries to change it. Before the noise, before the demands, before the distractions, you get a head start on your goals. You move while others are still sleeping. You grow while others are still hesitating. Success is not a lightning strike. It's not something that happens overnight. It's built in the quiet repetitions, the small choices, the early victories. Champions aren't made on the stage, they're made in the shadows, in the early hours when no one is watching. That's where confidence is born. That's where discipline is forged. That's where you separate yourself. Imagine how different your life could be if you won your morning every single day. Not perfectly, not flawlessly, but intentionally. Imagine what would happen if by 11 a.m. you already had already wine, taken one real step toward your dream. That's not just productivity, that's power. That's how you build a life you're proud of. You see, people talk about wanting success, fulfillment, clarity, but very few are willing to do the one thing that almost guarantees all of it. Take command of the morning. Because the truth is, Most people are asleep at the wheel, living reactively, letting the day dictate their emotions and actions. But not you. Not anymore. This is your call. This is your reminder that greatness doesn't begin at noon. It starts in the quiet hours in the first light when it's just you and your commitment. And when you learn to conquer those first few hours, when you learn to rise with discipline and purpose, you don't just win the morning, you win your life one day at a time. So tomorrow, when that alarm goes off, remember this, your destiny is waiting. And it's waiting for you when in the morning dot, there's something powerful about starting your day by doing the hard thing, the thing you've been avoiding, the thing that's uncomfortable, maybe even a little painful. Because buried underneath that resistance is the exact breakthrough you've been looking for. Most people wake up and look for ease. They drift toward comfort, toward low-friction tasks, check a few emails, sip some coffee, scroll for a bit. Maybe tidy something that doesn't really need tidying. It feels productive in the moment, but deep down, you know it's avoidance. You're circling the one thing that actually matters. That one thing that would move the needle. The thing that, if done now, would shift the entire energy of your day. That's the thing you must do first. Why first? Because your willpower is strongest in the morning. Your focus is sharpest. Your mind is less cluttered. You haven't yet been distracted by the 1,000 small battles that try to steal your strength throughout the day. In that window of clarity, you have a choice. Lean into the fire or run from it. And if you're serious about growth, about change, about rising above who you were yesterday, then you already know the answer. You lean in. Doing the hard thing first is an act of defiance against average. It says, I'm not here to coast. I'm here to conquer. Whether it's a difficult conversation, a heavy workout, an intimidating task, or the first step toward a dream that scares you, it has to come first. Because if it doesn't, it gets buried. Buried under meetings, distractions, and the endless tide of small, urgent things that don't actually matter. Think about this. What would your life look like if every morning you did the thing you least wanted to do but most needed to do? What would happen to your confidence, your momentum, your results? You'd stop waking up feeling behind. You'd stop ending days feeling like you were busy but never moved forward. You'd start building something real, something unshakable. Because every time you do the hard thing first, you teach your mind that you are in control, not your fears, not your doubts, not your excuses. You build mental armor. You build resilience. You build the kind of internal strength that doesn't fade. When things get tough, it grows. And no, it won't feel good at first. That's the point. It's not supposed to. Growth doesn't happen in comfort, it happens in challenge. That's where the transformation is. That's where discipline is forged. When you wake up and choose what's difficult, what's easy, you're training yourself to lead. To show up even when you don't feel like it. And that is the difference between someone who dreams and someone who builds. So take a moment right now and ask yourself, what's the one thing you've been avoiding? What's the task, the action, the step you know would change everything, but you keep putting it off? That thing that's your key. That's the hard thing. And tomorrow morning it doesn't wait. It doesn't get delayed. It gets done. Start your day with that. No delay, no debate, no drama. Just decision, just action. And when it's done, feel the shift. Feel how different you carry yourself. Feel the momentum in your blood. That's not just productivity. That's power. That's personal leadership. You don't rise by doing what's easy. You rise by doing what's necessary. And more often than not, what's necessary is the thing you've been resisting. So tomorrow, before the world can distract you, before your energy gets pulled in every direction, make the move. Do the hard thing first. The rest of the day will fall in line. Before the world pulls you in 100 different directions, before the demands and distractions hit, there is something you must do every single morning. You must feed your mind and body. Because if you don't pour into yourself first, you'll spend the rest of the day running on empty. You cannot give, grow, or grind on a weak foundation. You need fuel, real fuel. And I'm not just talking about food. I'm talking about nourishment for your whole being, your body needs movement. Your mind needs clarity. Your spirit needs alignment. That's why how you begin your morning matters, not just for the tasks ahead, but for the person you're becoming. When you feed your body first thing in the morning, you're making a declaration: I honor this vessel. I take care of this machine. I choose energy over exhaustion. Whether it's a full workout, a quick walk, some stretching, or a few deep breaths, you are activating your system. You're not waiting for motivation to strike. You're creating it. Motion builds momentum. When the blood flows, so does your creativity. So does your courage. So does your focus. And the best part, you carry that momentum into everything else. Now let's talk about your mind. Most people wake up and immediately feed their minds junk. They grab their phones, scroll through noise, comparison, negativity, and then wonder why they feel anxious, distracted, or behind before they've even left the house. But that doesn't have to be your story. You get to choose what you allow in. You get to choose what thoughts take root. Start your day with something that feeds you, not drains you. Read something powerful. Listen to something uplifting. Journal your goals, your gratitude, your vision. Pray, reflect, speak truth into your life. Remind yourself who you are and where you're going. Because if you don't program your mind, the world will do it for you. And the world is not always kind. The world will tell you to settle, to fear, to doubt, to play small. So every morning, before you step into the chaos, you have to armor up. And that starts by feeding your mind something stronger than fear, purpose, perspective, passion. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. You don't need a 2-hour morning routine. You need 10 solid minutes of focused effort, 10 minutes of movement, 10 minutes of mental clarity, 10 minutes where you say, today I build myself before I build anything else. You are not just a body walking through life. You are a being with thoughts, energy, and direction. And every morning is a reset. Every sunrise is a new chance to realign, recenter, and recharge. Because the truth is, life doesn't slow down. The challenges won't stop coming. But you don't need life to get easier. You need to get stronger. You need to sharpen your mind and strengthen your body daily, just like a warrior prepares for battle. Feed your mind wisdom, not worry. Feed your body strength, not sluggishness. And you'll find that what used to feel overwhelming starts to feel like opportunity. What used to drain you now becomes fuel. So tomorrow, when you wake up, before you dive into the day, stop and ask yourself, have I fed myself yet? Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Because if you haven't, you're walking into a storm unarmed. But when you do, when you fuel your inner world first, everything in your outer world starts to shift. You walk taller. You think clearer. You act bolder. And that right there is how leaders are made. That is how legacies are built. One morning at a time, one choice at a time. Every single day is a blank page. But too many people wake up and hand the pen over to the world. They let other people, outside circumstances, and random distractions decide what their day will become. That's not how purpose is lived. That's not how greatness is built. If you want to live with power, with peace, with progress, you must wake up and set clear intentions. Intention is not wishful thinking. It's not vague positivity. It's a decision. It's a direction. It's you declaring to yourself and the universe, this is who I am, and this is how I will show up today. Without intention, your energy gets scattered. You chase tasks that don't matter. You respond to everything but move toward nothing. You get to the end of the day feeling drained, not because you did too much, but because you didn't do what truly mattered. That's the real exhaustion. That's the heaviness most people carry, not from effort, but from lack of clarity. Setting an intention is like setting the GPS for your soul. You tell your mind, your body, and your spirit where you're headed, and then suddenly your focus sharpens. Your choices align. You stop wasting time wondering what to do next because you already decided what matters most. It doesn't have to be complicated. Setting clear intentions can be as simple as asking yourself 3 questions each morning. How do I want to feel today? What is one thing I will accomplish no matter what? Who do I want to be today, not just in action, but in attitude? This is where power begins. You stop living by default and start living by design. You're not just reacting, you're leading. Even if chaos comes, even if plans shift, you stay grounded. Because you're not just chasing results, you're rooted in purpose. Let's say you wake up and say, today I want to feel focused. I will finish writing that chapter. And I will carry patience and confidence no matter what comes. That's an intention. That's a compass. And throughout the day, when distractions knock, when self-doubt creeps in, when things don't go as planned, you return to that compass. You recalibrate. You stay the course. This is what high performers do. This is what fulfilled people do. They don't live their days by chance. They live them by choice. Every morning, they plant the seed of intention, and every evening, they harvest the results. Because here's the truth. Your life is not shaped by big moments. It's shaped by tiny choices, made daily, with clarity or without it. And when you live without intention, you surrender control. You give up the one thing that separates leaders from wanderers, direction. But when you live with intention, even if you're tired, even if you're still figuring it out, you become unstoppable. Because clarity breeds confidence, and confidence creates action, and action creates momentum. And momentum, that changes everything. Think of intention as a spiritual anchor, a mental map, a decision to live by purpose rather than pressure, to move toward meaning rather than motion. You may not be able to control everything that happens today, but you can control who you are in the face of it. So tomorrow, don't just wake up and go through the motions. Don't roll out of bed into chaos. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself what matters today, what must be done, how must I show up. Write it down, speak it out loud, feel it in your bones, because once you've set your intention, the day is already yours. You've already won the first battle, the battle of direction. Now everything that comes can either align with that intention or get out of your way. When you live like this, with intention, with clarity, with purpose, you don't just survive the day. You shape it, you command it. You create it. Your focus is your most valuable resource. Not your time, not your money, not even your talent. Focus is the one thing that can turn time into progress, money into impact, and talent into greatness. And yet most people treat it like it's disposable. They give it away to notifications, to noise, to things that don't matter. Then they wonder why they feel stuck, frustrated, or lost. The answer is simple. They didn't lose their potential. They lost their focus. If you want to achieve anything meaningful, you must guard your focus like your feet depends on it, because it does. Every day your attention is under attack. The world is loud. Your phone is always buzzing. Everyone wants a piece of your energy, and if you don't get ruthless about protecting your mind, you'll spend your life chasing distractions instead of chasing your destiny. The morning is your most powerful window. It's your cleanest space, unpolluted, uncluttered, undistracted. But it doesn't stay that way for long. So if you don't guard your focus early, you will lose it before the real work even begins. That's why the first few hours of your day are sacred. That's when you build. That's when you plan. That's when you move the needle. But to do that, you have to be intentional about what you let in and what you shut out. Start by saying no. No to checking social media first thing. No to scrolling through the news. No to diving into emails that hijack your brain before your purpose has had a chance to speak. Say no to other people's agendas until you've committed to your own. This isn't selfish, it's strategic. Because if you give away your mental clarity in the first hour, the rest of the day becomes a battle just to get it back. Focus isn't just about what you give your attention to, it's about what you protect it from. It's about setting boundaries around your brain. It's about deciding, this is where my energy goes, and everything else can wait. When you do that, you start to operate from a place of power instead of pressure. Distraction is the enemy of depth, and we live in a world addicted to shallow, short clips, quick answers, instant gratification. But nothing meaningful is built that way. If you want to create, if you want to grow, if you want to lead, you have to go deep. You have to carve out space to think, to build, to breathe. That means creating focus rituals. That means training your brain like a muscle to resist the urge to jump, to scroll, to check. That means deciding for the next hour, this is my only task. And honoring that decision like your dream depends on it, because it does. Guarding your focus doesn't mean living in a bubble. It means living on purpose. It means turning off the noise so you can hear your own voice. It means creating time to do the work that matters before the world tells you what's urgent. Because urgent and important are rarely the same. And don't fall for the lie that you're bad at focus. You're not. You're just out of practice. We all are. But it's a skill, and like any skill, it can be trained. Start small. Give yourself 20 minutes with 0 distractions. Then 30. Then an hour. Over time, you'll feel your brain waking up. You'll feel your productivity multiply. You'll notice you're getting more done with less stress and more satisfaction. Because when you guard your focus, you get your power back. You get your time back. You get your life back. So tomorrow morning, before you check anything, check in with yourself. What matters most today? What requires my full attention? What must I protect at all costs? Write it down. Lock it off. And then build a wall around that focus. Not just to keep things out, but to let greatness in. How you start anything sets the tone for how you'll finish everything. The morning is more than just a time of day, it's a battlefield. And those who win it don't just have better days. They build better lives. Because every victory starts before the world is awake. Every transformation begins in the quiet hours when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when it's just you and the decision to rise or to roll over. You have to understand this. Your morning is the doorway to your power. You either step through it with intention, or you stumble through it in chaos. And that choice shapes everything. You don't just win the morning by accident. You win it by design, by discipline, by deciding that the first part of your day belongs to your mission, not your distractions. This is why the morning is sacred. It's not just a routine, it's a ritual. It's the time when your mind is fresh, your spirit is open, and your will is still yours. The noise hasn't invaded yet. The world hasn't thrown its weight on your shoulders yet. You're free. And in that freedom, you get to choose what kind of day you're going to have, a reactive one or a revolutionary one. The most successful people, the most grounded, the most joyful, they all have one thing in common. They win their mornings. Before the emails, before the news, before the demands, they move, they pray, they write, they breathe, they stretch, they learn. They do what centers them, what aligns them, what powers them. And then they step into the world not drained, but charged. You don't need a perfect schedule. You don't need to get up at 4 a.m. and run 10 miles before the sun rises. You just need a standard, a non-negotiable. A few intentional habits that tell your mind we lead this day. We don't follow it. Maybe that means waking up 30 minutes earlier to read something inspiring. Maybe it's journaling your vision, your goals, your gratitude. Maybe it's doing 50 push-ups in silence to remind yourself that you can do hard things. Whatever it is, make it yours. Make it consistent. Make it powerful. Because once you start owning your morning, you'll feel something shift. You won't just go through your day, you'll drive it. You'll stop drifting from task to task. You'll move with rhythm, with direction, with clarity. You'll have already achieved something before the world even wakes up. And that sense of progress, of self-respect, it carries over. It leaks into your conversations, your decisions, your energy. You walk into rooms differently. You show up for people differently. You show up for yourself differently. But let me be clear, winning the morning doesn't mean feeling motivated every morning. It means doing it anyway. It means pushing through the grogginess, the excuses, the temptation to snooze your potential. It means remembering who you said you wanted to be and proving it when it's hardest to do so. That's the difference between people who talk about changing their lives and people who actually do. And yes, you'll mess up. You'll have off days. That's okay. What matters is that you return to the standard. That you don't let one lazy morning turn into a lazy week. Get back up. Reset. Reclaim the morning. Because that's where your power lies. That's where your greatness is forged, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows before anyone sees the results. So ask yourself tomorrow, what would it look like if I won this morning? Not just survived and won it. What would it look like to give the first hour of my day to growth, to focus, to God, to purpose instead of stress, distraction, or mindless scrolling? Because when you win the morning, you set a fire in motion that burns all day long. You light up your own path. And no matter what comes, the meetings, the mess, the setbacks, you face it with strength, because your roots were planted deep before the sun even rose. Win the morning, win the day, win your life.